On this week's show, we're discussing Xbox standing on a massive rake as it closed several studios, PlayStation working on a new LEGO game, the follow-up to the ROG Ally is here, and Suicide Squad commits financial suicide at WB. All that and much, much more on this week's GamerGuild Podcast. Hello everyone, welcome back to the GamerGuild Podcast, your weekly show where we round up all the week's video game news and stories for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/GamerGuildTV and up there in the digital cloud on your podcast preference of choice. Joining me this week is Mr. Chris.
Good game, everyone. Hope you're well. Happy summer. Happy weekend.
How are you, Chris? How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm a little bit... I've just realised I've caught the sun slightly. This is not like light refraction.
Oh, I can see.
This is... I've been out at a food festival today, and evidently, as you get older, folks, a lot of the audience will know your hair starts to thin at the temples, and it does not protect me anymore.
Yeah, I know that pain.
Yeah, so that we'll brush it off as a slight... it's just the lighting in here is quite poor.
You know what? No one probably would have noticed until you pointed it out.
I don't mind.
How was it?
I'm enjoying a cider. It was tasty. I had a nice combination. I had a German bratwurst sausage with cheese sauce on top and some crispy onions. I had some mac and cheese with sticky ribs on top. I had some churros with Nutella and Biscoff cream.
And a food coma.
And I bought a brownie to take home. I had a couple of beers and I feel like I had something else as well. I'm sure there's something else in there, but I enjoyed a food festival as you should, as well as the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis over the weekend. Beautiful stuff.
I can't believe I missed them. I woke up to text people, all in our friendship group, everyone go, I've seen the lights. Like, I was asleep.
Yeah, I only just caught it because I was feeding the little one a last bottle of night, and then I saw like the internet just popping off with it, and I was like, no. Went out into the back garden, and it like you could see a little bit, but woke a wife up. Was like, you got to see this because like we've lived in this house nearly 10 years, and it's like never seen anything like that over my back garden. So I was like, yeah, this is beautiful. Took some snaps, took some photos, and yeah, what a wonderful world we live in. So good game, everyone. And
fingers crossed ahead, they might be visible on tonight, which is Saturday at the time of recording. So I'm hoping I might get to see them tonight.
Yeah.
If not,
beautiful stuff.
Yeah, it's just one of them things you don't expect to wake up to Aurora Borealis pictures from your mate's garden.
Not at all. If not, go play Starfield or something. I'm sure there's some beautiful scenery in there. I'd
like to actually go to see the Northern Lights properly.
Well, that's pretty much how I woke the wife up. Wake up, I can save us £2,000 on a holiday. Just go get in the garden for 10 minutes.
And she was like, you still take me on holiday, Chris.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you know what? I'll have to hit up Jorvar, one of our wonderful members, in the Discord as well. Once everything's settled down over there. Get some great locations for Iceland. But yeah, it's on the list. As with many other places.
Indeed. But before we get into it, make sure if you haven't already, you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell icon so you're kept in the loop of all of our amazing content here at GamerGuildTV, such as this podcast, which goes live on Mondays, 8 a.m. It's 8 a.m. GMT.
It's there at PM.
On YouTube, and yeah, it's still there. It's there on Tuesdays as well, and Wednesdays. It just doesn't go away. On podcast servers and on YouTube, and our weekly live stream usually Thursdays. Last week I played Jedi Survivor. Finally started it after over a year of wanting to on Xbox on the Friday. Actually, no, that was the week before. Last week was Ox Must Die 3.
Yeah, it's been a long one.
Yeah, Chris, tell us about Ox Must Die 3. Was it fun?
Well, I really enjoyed Ox Must Die 3. So for those who don't recall, it was a once Google Stadia exclusive in partnership with Stadia Games Entertainment. So we've got some history with it on the channel. It's basically a kind of castle defense game, but in 3D. And you're two heroes defending castles and such from a horde of orcs in various sizes and forms. You upgrade your weapons to defend your castle from the invading forces. And it is just like, as you can expect, it's just a fun solo game or co-op, probably more fun playing in co-op. The third entry in its series. And it's on Game Pass at the moment. You can also play it via cloud gaming. So for a bit of retro, a bit of nostalgia, because it had been 4 years almost to the month since we played it originally, which is insane to say. But it's nice to see when games do get their kind of like the second wind later. So if you've got Game Pass, if you've got family, children, friends, the co-op element of it's really, really fun. So a couple of people in our chat actually, whilst we were playing it, saying they were checking it out for the first time and said it was really, really fun. So don't sleep on it. Robot Entertainment, great little game. We'll probably get a 4 at some point in the next probably year or two. Actually, we're probably due about that. So yeah. Go check it out. And in between that, I ain't really been playing anything else. I've had a busy week at work. I've been away. So pretty much just, yeah.
Yeah, Ox Must Die 3, it's one of them games that I kind of like to think of as a low-impact game. So it doesn't take a lot to sit down and play. So if you've had a long day, you're tired of something, you can easily sit down. It's not making too many demands of you. If you can play for an hour and then just bounce out. There's no hard-hitting story or complex open world or anything. You just jump in, here's a level, build some towers, off you go.
Kill the orcs.
Yes, kill the orcs indeed. As for what I've been playing, busy week myself actually, preparing to go on holiday soon. A week today at the time of launch, this comes out. But we did finish Lego Marvel Superheroes. Kind of. We almost got the platinum. And then the game crashed and corrupted the save.
No.
I'm not joking. We lost about 10 plus hours. Yeah.
Wow.
We were literally...
Was it just like error message pop up and
error
the game
message.
freeze? Or?
We'd had a couple of crashes. But we had an error message pop up. The game crashed and then the save was just corrupted. It's the first time I've ever actually seen that happen on a PlayStation.
Wow. On an older game as well, usually all the
PS4
patches
game.
and bug fixes are ironed out by, 7-8 years later?
Lego,
dear.
go back and sort that out because it's not excusable. Because I did look at some of the forums and stuff, and we're not the first person it's happened to. It's still a known issue with the game.
Oh, do you go back and recollect brick by brick, or are you done?
I'm not.
Angry?
My girlfriend is. We're literally, I think we're on 95% completion.
Was it just collecting the gold bricks or whatever it is? I can't recall.
What was there was a few icons on the map that just needed cleaning up, but most of the major stuff was done.
Wow.
See, we're talking probably an hour or two of gaming left before the platinum popped, and that's so heartbreaking.
Well, at least there's not a new Lego game on the horizon to talk about.
Yeah. Other than that, I have been playing FIFA or EAFC 24.
You watching Welcome to Wrexham as well?
No, I don't have Disney Plus myself. I am annoyed with EA 24. Can I please just log onto the game without a million pop-ups telling me about Ultimate Team?
No, not allowed. Sorry.
Yeah.
Part of the deal.
Yeah, it's just annoying. I just want to get into my career mode, and I don't care about Ultimate Team, so stop giving me the pop-ups.
Well, from what the rumours are this week, EA looking... I know it's not in our news doc, but one of their head honchos was this week talking about more pop-up ads being in the game, whether that's be on billboards or just pop-ups during load screens. EA playing with nefarious forces again after the waters seem to have settled after a good couple of years, so... EA gonna do what EA gonna do, it seems.
I think there's ads in games are not necessarily evil. Like in football games, ads on the advertising hoarding, it's expected to be there. It makes sense. It shouldn't get in the way of the content. Full stop. For paid content. In fact, even for free content, it shouldn't get in the way of you actually consuming that content. Do you hate the same as me when you go into a news website or something and there's ads popping up and it just gets in the way of you actually reading the bloody article?
Yeah, I don't think anyone enjoys that.
Yeah. So it's just
monetization. It's like everything trying to do that lower tier to entry if you're willing to put up with ads. So we've gone from terrestrial TVs, the obviously main example, got away from adverts with subscription. The best part about them was you just had the content on demand, and then now you've got entry tiers. I'm watching Amazon. When I watch Fallout, and I'm currently watching Clarkson's Farm, and you get a 45-second advert before the show starts. I was like, hang on a minute, I'm paying for this, but now we've just reverted back to stereotype, and we've got adverts all over again on our standard, unless you pay for a higher tier, and it's just been nickel and dimed.
Yeah, I don't hate ads necessarily. There's nothing that makes me want to use your product or service less than when I'm trying to read something or play a game or watch a TV and you're getting bombarded with the same thing over and over again, and it's getting in the way. It makes me hate your product. It really does.
Well, this show doesn't have any ads.
It does.
Not on purpose. Not from us anyway.
Yeah. But Chris, that rant aside, would you like to introduce us to the
Graciously Gathered GamerGuild Gazette, aka the news?
The news. And as always, our news is brought to you by our guild heroes, which you can join for as little as 99p over on the YouTube channel. As I'm quite aware of the irony of me having a rant about ads, then now I'm effectively reading an ad for our own membership service, which gives you early access to the show, among other goodies.
Sponsored by Brill Cream.
Imagine. I'd have to come in with my hair actually done.
Sweep.
Yeah. Chris, first news item of the day. Xbox. What the hell has gone on? Because we kind of predicted some of this, unfortunately.
Yeah, we did on last week. As recent as last week, which is the crazy thing. Xbox just cannot get out of their own way at the moment. It feels like every time they build any sort of momentum, and again, this is from like our audience know, like we're primarily like PlayStation first and foremost. We dabble in Nintendo, and like we only both got our first Xbox consoles just over a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. And we've absolutely loved Game Pass. It's by far the best value in video games. I love the cloud elements. We actually play on our live streams probably more Xbox centric games than anything else, which is the big irony. And yet, for all the coverage we've talked about over the last several years, from competing with Stadia to our own podcast to today, it's just like they have their nice big tidy garden, nice green Xbox coloured branded grass, with their Xbox toaster in the corner, Richie, and their controllers with their little jackets.
And a steaming shit on it.
Yeah. I was going to go more with the metaphor of there's lots of rakes all in the garden, and they just seem to step on them every time they step out the house to talk about a new game, talk about a studio, investor call, acquisition. It's like rake in the face, rake in the face. It's pure Sergio Bob in that Simpsons episode where I just can't get away from standing on rakes. And big news this week, right?
Yeah, so
we predicted it.
The news is basically Xbox have confirmed that they are shuttering Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, and AlphaDog. Now, Arcane Austin, I think there's different takes on these. Arcane Austin, I think we kind of expected. There were bleeding staff. Redfall was a bust. The DLC seemed to just disappear off the face of the earth. I don't think anyone's really surprised by that. Tango, though, the makers of Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah.
Like,
it's mad. Yeah. Alpha again, I think just to get them all in there. AlphaDog, mobile games predominantly. They're working on, I think, Mighty Doom recently and a couple of other like small titles that they were helping out with other stuff. There's also Roundhouse Studios, which was within that, but they've pretty much been doing... They've been working and merged semi with the Elder Scrolls ZeniMax Online Studios team, so they kind of have been phased out anyway. This was just the final nail in the coffin for them. But yeah, I think Arcane Austin, we predicted it last week. I explicitly said like I'm worried for them because if they haven't even got the DLC out a year later for the game, and they then have to start production on another game from scratch essentially, because they're clearly not supporting Redfall. Like, what are they doing over there? And amongst an industry filled with layoffs, that was no surprise, but you're absolutely right on that one. Pivoting over to Hi-Fi Rush, like Tango Gameworks, like I know Ghostwire Tokyo, which came out a few years ago now, wasn't as critically received and
it did well.
So it did, again, it was a good game. That's about the extent of it, a good game.
The criticism for it, I've always felt, because I did play a bit, I think played a bit in stream.
You had a fast look on the channel, yeah.
It fell into the kind of trap, I think, a lot of the ZeniMax Studio games where they all do feel... There might be a slight quirk to them, but they do definitely... You can tell it's from that studio. And they just have to, like... I'll have fun playing for an evening, and then they just don't... Something about it just doesn't grab my attention. I'll go on to do something else. So it's not bad in any way, shape, or form, but not the kind of thing where you go, I can't wait to get back and play more.
Yeah. And I've always been that in a weird way with the Bethesda games. I've said it for years on this show that there's just something visually about them that they all feel the same. There's something about the engine that they use, whether it's from Fallout to Starfield, to Redfall in particular, or even Deathloop or Ghost of Tokyo. There's just like a filter, a Bethesda-esque filter over it that just like it just never ever vibes with me. And then, funnily enough, they pivoted completely away from that tango and they gave us Hi-Fi Rush, Stealth Drop back at the the Xbox's first developer direct showcase. Blew the socks off everyone, straight into Game Pass, a quirky little music, anime-style, cartoon visual, brilliant little platformer that went with the beat of the music. It had such cool vibes. It won more awards than probably any Xbox game has done in the last several years, and critical acclaim. I think it was Don Matrick who was one of the Xbox heads. Was it Don Matrick or Matt Booty? Someone tweeted out at the time saying like, celebrating Hi-Fi Rush, and it hit all the metrics they expected to hit from a game. And yet, fast forward a year and a bit, Richie, and that's just not good enough.
Yeah.
You're getting Game of the Year award-nominated title,
so,
and that's not apparently good enough for Microsoft.
What Microsoft and the Xbox team kind of saying is they focused on shuttering studios that are at the pitch stage, so they haven't got any projects green-lit, so they're not cancelling projects. Redfall DLC aside. The issue, though, is they're also saying that this was done with the intent of preserving what makes Microsoft games great. It's like, but you're closing Hi-Fi Rush over the last maybe couple of years is probably the best critically received Microsoft first-party game. It's not a massive AAA title, but everyone loved it.
I think between that and Pentiment, they came out with like a double hit of like, oh shit, these smaller style games come from Xbox. They're amazing.
Yeah, and the great Game Pass library titles, they're not console sellers.
No, not
but
at all.
They're fantastic to have on your platform, especially on like things like Game Pass. So they're one of them games that you'd hear about. It's kind of probably on your radar. You have get Game Pass, I'm going to jump into it, and you fall in love with it. And that's the sort of game that can make you fall in love with the developer as well. So then you'd be excited for what Tango have got next.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder like where this decision's coming from, because there's a lot of questions over Game Pass at the moment about its profitability. Mm-hmm. And is Game Pass really actually undermining Microsoft's attempts to make a profitable Xbox platform here?
Well, this is what the week's been since. So because of this news, everyone's kind of gone back to interviews and tweets and excerpts from the last several years with Xbox leadership team, and the reasonings behind why they're shuttering it are one thing, but then when you look back, how many times has like Phil Spencer or Matt Booty or Sarah Bond said like, we want to nurture things, we want to grow IP, we want to give these teams the freedom to flex creativity. And that's what's led, in theory, to things like Hi-Fi Rush. Sarah Bond, in particular, I think she's been dragged across the coals the last couple of days because it was when was it Lionhead Studios, I think? Were they the guys who made Fable, Lionhead?
Yes,
I'm not too familiar.
So, yeah.
They bought them. They were making Fable Legends, I want to say, and then they shuttered it and Fable Legends never came out. And it was like, right, we took a team who was predominantly single player. We tried them to do something else that wasn't in their wheelhouse. It messed up. We closed the studio. And Sarah Bond, I think, explicitly said when they were acquiring these other teams like Ninja Theory, who were about to put out Hellblade, like Tango Gameworks and in amongst the Bethesda family, they said, we're not going to do the same as we did with Lionhead. What are we doing right here? The exact same fucking thing.
I think Sarah Bond has kind of come in for a lot of hot water because she actually went out on, I can't remember what podcast, it might have been Giant Bomb. She's spoken publicly. But when you listen to her words, when you hear someone talk for like half an hour and they're actually saying nothing of any substance, it's very marketing speak, very corporate, and it's like, yeah, it's not shareholders you've pissed off with these moves. You need to kind of address gamers and go, give us a why is Tango getting shuttered? And protecting games portfolio for Microsoft and stuff seems like that's the reason why you'd absolutely be excited to see what they come up with next, not close the studio. So there's a lot of kind of odd stuff there. I keep getting the impression that this is Microsoft corporate interfering almost.
Yeah. I mean, potentially, it's again, we'll never know because it's all behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, it was Matt Booty as well. He was addressing ZeniMax employees regarding the closures at like a town hall internally, and he's been quoted as saying one of the main factors for the closure was it's hard to support 9 studios all across the world with a lean central team with an ever-growing plate of things to do. Oh, sorry, that was Sarah Bond. Sorry, this is the one Sarah Bond's coming in critical for. I think we're about to topple over.
Hire people.
Sorry, but if you are actively going out there to acquire companies, studios, assets, whatever it may be, and then several years later going, oh, this is quite hard, this. Supporting 9 global studios around the world is quite tough. It's like, then what the hell are you buying them for in the first place? Like, what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
Oh, we've got a studio in Japan, a studio in France, a studio in Germany. This is tough to manage for them. If anything, in the digital world, it should be easier than ever to manage. But they're struggling, so the choice is to close the studios. It's like, as a publisher, that's what you do. You manage studios globally. That's what a publisher does.
Yeah, it sounds like they're trying to almost micromanage a bit. It's like, but ZeniMax had its own corporate structure already in place. I don't know the full details of what happened during that buyout because that happened before we actually started our podcast. But so does Activision Blizzard King. Like, these companies already have corporate structures which you can rely on. You don't have to you can get involved with them to see what's going on. But you don't have to theoretically micromanage. You can create a corporate structure that can handle this. You're fucking Microsoft if you have the resources to do it.
That's
just
the thing,
maybe
isn't it?
need a few more people to work on. Like, right, you're going, well, we're going to hire you. You're going to be the director of the ZeniMax portfolio, so you're responsible for that portfolio of games. Go. Or you maybe do it a different way. You maybe break it down by game genre. Like, you're the director of multiplayer games for Xbox. You're the director for tentpole guns. You're the director for smaller things. So then these department heads can then interact with all the different companies, and there's ways you can structure it rather than seemingly put everything on 3 people, which is kind of feels like what they're saying a bit, and it also comes across as like, oh, woe is us, we're overworked.
It's very naive, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird that when you hear like these 3 people talk from Xbox, that I'm like, okay, you're saying a lot of bollocks there, really.
Yeah.
Usually they're quite in touch with gamers.
Another Matt Booty quote is like, we were spread too thin like peanut butter on bread, and as the leadership to make a decision, we had to look for free up resources elsewhere. It's like, you're already stating that you spread too thin, and yet you've just acquired Activision Blizzard and King, which is triple the amount of studios, right? So now it's not getting smaller, it's getting bigger, and I think I think this is the big risk, is now all their eggs are in that basket. They're now looking elsewhere, going, right, where can we really trim the fat? And I think that's what it generally comes down to. I think Hi-Fi Rush, whether it did good or bad, I think Tango Gameworks, whether it did good or bad, it is genuinely, I think, down to what they've said, which is these studios are currently got nothing really going on. They're in the pitching phase. They're wanting to scale up their staff to get into production for the next title. That costs money. That costs resources. Yeah. And you know what? It's easy to cut the cord now rather than sink 100 million into these games and then cut the cord if we're still in the red.
This is where I wonder if Microsoft Corporate have kind of put the spotlight on Xbox, because we know it's not just gaming that seems to be consolidation, it's tech in general. So Microsoft might be going, we put a huge amount of investment in this studio, let's have an actually good look at what's going on. And they're kind of going, right, what you need to do is you need to slim down your operation. We need to start seeing some return on ZeniMax, and we need to start seeing some return as soon as we can on Activision Blizzard King. Where something I look at it and go, Activision Blizzard King, see, realistically that should be done at the Microsoft level because it's such an investment, and you kind of almost treat that what's going on there separate from the rest of Xbox in terms of repaying that investment, because it's going to take a long time to do. You're going to have to get a lot of hits out the door to get the money back in to repay that. You don't drop 70 billion almost dollars
for ABK.
Yeah, you don't
78 point something. Yeah,
you don't do that with like a long-term strategy. It's same with like the Bethesda stuff. I know that was only 7.5 billion, but it's still in the billions.
Only.
Yeah, you've got well, surely you're looking at it and going, that's not going to be paid off in 4 years.
No, you're talking decades.
The only thing I can think of is, have Microsoft been a bit naive about the growth of the gaming industry, and factors outside of the industry have kind of slowed the growth of the industry as a whole, or maybe we've talked in our Discord actually recently, like things like the cost of living crisis seems to be everywhere at the moment, so people are tightening the belts a bit, and unfortunately that's going to hit entertainment first. When it comes to your budgeting, what's the first thing you're going to cut? It's going to be entertainment budget.
It's luxuries, isn't it? Luxuries go. And I think it's just a ringing indictment of the technology full stop, because again, it's always so much money in research and development, and in terms of games, it's development costs, and the cost to like keep a studio of 100 plus people, and their wages and insurance and employment and all that. But then when they've got no income, like this is the big problem with the Game Pass model, is that Hi-Fi Rush could have came out and been critically acclaimed and sold for what, 25 quid, £30 a pop.
Yeah.
And because it was so critically acclaimed, it might have sold more. Instead, straight into Game Pass, free. Everyone gets it for free. I'd say they're only making money now it's on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Which is the big irony, is now it's on other platforms. When Hi-Fi Rush hits Switch, that'll sell shed tons.
That's the thing.
Probably more so now because of this news.
Yeah, that's the thing. How much money is that game going to make? And now the studio's already done.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's like you haven't given it its full chance to actually pay itself off.
Absolutely.
Even with like the move to start adding Xbox games to PlayStation and to Switch, it seems like Microsoft are like, you guys, Xbox, you guys need to start making some fucking money here.
But how do you make money? Because that's the problem, isn't it? It's like, look at Starfield.
Yeah.
It made loads of money because of the pre-order sales, but would it have made as much if it was just a $70 game everywhere? I don't think it did.
No. How many Game Pass subscriptions and how many Xboxes were sold on the back of Starfield? The maths is complicated. It just is.
But then this is where the Game Pass model starts to really look bad, because their example here is like they were pitching new projects. So that new project might have cost, say, if they were going for a shooter like Ghostwire Tokyo, 100 to 150 million. If they were looking for Hi-Fi Rush, like a smaller title, maybe 50 million or something. And they go, right, well, we don't really have 50 to 100 million for you. You didn't make anything of Hi-Fi Rush because it was straight in Game Pass. So then you get a percentage of Game Pass maybe based on your metrics played. Like, we don't know how that works. Look at Bethesda. Okay, Fallout or Elder Scrolls is the next game. Where's your Starfield money that goes towards that? Because there isn't any, because it was all Game Pass. And then this is where I think, because Game Pass isn't growing at the rate they hoped, remember they wanted like something like 50 million or 100 million. They're at 34 something, I think, at the last count. It started to get to this sunken cost model where not only that, but they've also just dropped, as you said, 78 billion on Activision Blizzard King. It's like, I know Microsoft is a very, very cash-rich company, but at what point, like you said, do they pull the drawstrings and go, you guys aren't making as much as you probably should be?
You're starting to slow that. You're starting to miss your projections.
Year on year.
The graphs are tapering off. You're not getting to where we were hoping this needs to be. And unfortunately, it's a massive corporate business. They're going, well, your profitability is reducing, or it's slowed. You're not making your projections. You're going to have to cut costs.
Yeah,
but it just feels like corporate panic, to be honest.
But it's okay, Richie, because you're selling more consoles than the competitors, right?
No, you're comfortably in third place.
And now you want more money to make another generation's worth of R&D as well, which is, we know consoles are sold at a loss for the most part. So it's like you do really question. I mean, again, it's happening everywhere. I know this seems like a very Xbox thing, but I think it comes from a place of passion where I absolutely adored Hi-Fi Rush. And if they're smart, they keep the IP alive because they own it, surely. Yeah. And we do see a sequel, maybe from somebody else, but then that seems odd that you would then give them resources to another studio who don't have the expertise and go make a sequel.
Yeah.
Rare, maybe, because of that kind of like whimsical roots. But on the flip side, if I was to say, look at PlayStation right now, I could see Media Molecule being closed down by the end of the summer. They're in a pitching stage after the failure of Dreams. What does their game look like? And I could see Sony turn around and go, you're dead too. Bang.
For me, this is one where I think you have to look at the creative vision and the metrics. Like, yeah, Dreams failed, but Dreams was experimental as fuck.
But took 9-10 years, though.
Yeah, that itself is a problem. But
don't want to predict the future. I know there's news later on. WB could turn around like a Rocksteady safe.
WB can't decide whether they want to be in games or not. They keep every few years they keep changing their mind.
But do they just draw the line under and go, you know what, we're not making money? It's like, we'll get to the story later on. But again, these studios, if they don't turn a profit, is it literally just one strike and you're out? Is there no space for risk anymore?
For me, I think there's a lot of investment going into the gaming industry who can see massive returns on things like Fortnite and stuff and go, oh, we'll do one of them. But not fully understanding that gaming is a high risk. You can make a brilliant game, get the marketing right, then no one buys it. Look at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Sales are shit, to be honest, on it. But that game on the flip side, is probably the game of the year this year, as it stands. Like, critically, it's probably the best game that's come out this year, but it just hasn't sold well. But Remake did. So that feels like it should have been a sure bet. It's a fickle industry, and
on the flip side, you've got Palworld, made by absolutely nobody, and that sells tons of millions, makes huge amounts of money.
Yeah.
Helldivers comes out, a smaller AA project by all standards, second party, breaks record numbers, sells millions, and it's like, damn, games that probably took nowhere near the cost to make Final Fantasy and or another game.
Is it we've hit a point where, because games are built in these kind of 4 or 5 year cycles, that's a long time, and the world's quite tumultuous right now. So is it a case of when the game is greenlit, from greenlit to it coming out, the world's changed, the audience has changed, and suddenly we had this vision for this game and we're going to invest in it, we really believe in it, and by the time it comes out, it's like, ooh, that hasn't done what we needed it to. Panic. It might even be different people's money involved. It's high risk, unfortunately, and it's something the industry really needs to learn, because in the last few years we're covering lots of stories like this, Chris, and it's depressing as fuck.
It is. It's the games industry could be heading for like another crash.
Yeah,
realistically,
really
where the output just isn't there. Because I mean, I would be happy with a slowdown. Like, it's easy. The problem is, it's easy to say take your time, but then the longer they take, the more cost it racks up. So it's like you really can take your time. You need to get it out, and this is why games as a service is so important. As anyone who hates microtransactions and stuff, the reality is a lot of these companies, they need these to create a stream of income to support the other projects.
And to be fair,
like
any accountant is going to look at a game where, oh yeah, we're selling this game for $70. You get a massive spike for a month or two in your books, and then it tapers off very quickly. Versus, okay, the game's free of charge, but we're going to rake in a steady level of money continually. They're going to prefer the second one every single time.
Absolutely. And for every, I know you said at the beginning a little rant, but like for every EA Sports FC person who buys an FUT pack for £10 or whatever the hell the card booster things look like, that then goes into fun things like It Takes Two and Jedi Fallen Order, which don't make any money after the initial sales. So again, it's you can't have one without the other realistically, and these studios, looking at them, predominantly single player, they don't have it unless you're AAA blockbusters like Naughty Dog putting out The Last of Us and stuff, and Ghost of Tsushima, who can make decent bank on single player. Remember when the Marvel League happened, we looked at the Spider-Man, and like actually Sony don't make that much money from the Spider-Man sales, and it's one of their best sellers because of the licensing costs. It's mad. Like when you look at like Arcane Austin's gone. Arcane will live on, by the way, in Arcane Lyon, which was the original studio, because they're working on Marvel's Blade. But if Marvel's Blade has the same requirements as Spider-Man, that's like Disney taking a 30% cut, but this has gone on Game Pass. And
Marvel's Blade is not Spider-Man. Spider-Man is the Marvel IP. Mm-hmm. That is the top. Spider-Man is the top dog in terms of Marvel, in terms of pretty much every single metric you want to look at. Blade is probably a few rungs down.
Yeah, I would agree.
We probably have some fondness for Blade because was it the early 2000s movies?
Yeah, Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, but kids
and Ryan Reynolds.
But kids younger than us Kids, people in their mid-teens, have they got any interest in Blade at all? He's not in the MCU yet.
We'll see. Well, the same could be said for Indiana Jones. Like, a lot of people probably just don't give a shit at all. We've seen that from returned money, but we're getting a game from Machine Games. So if Indiana Jones comes out, Disney take the 30% cut for the Indiana Jones license. Harrison Ford probably has a cut for his likeness.
Yeah.
And then it performs okay. It's straight into Game Pass. No one's paying 70 quid for it. And then Machine Games are shuttered by the end of the year. It's like, because it's a single-player game. It's really worrying, and I think to lead into, I guess, another story that's here this week, is we're 2 weeks, just short of 2 weeks out, Richie, from Hellblade 2.
Yeah.
That's a smaller game. That's only coming in at £50. No physical release. Straight into Game Pass. The Ninja Theory have a game that's probably going to be critically received well, like Hi-Fi Rush, but is it going to move consoles? Is it going to move Game Pass subscribers? I don't think it will. I could see, again, I hate to be the harbinger of games developer death, but Media Molecule by the end of the year, gone. Ninja Theory by the end of the year, gone. And probably a couple of other ones sprinkled in there, unfortunately.
This is one where I was talking about, where I was saying, like, from start to finish of the project, has the world changed, unfortunately? Pulled the rug out from under it? Because I look at Hellblade 2 and go, this is Microsoft trying to go head-to-head with Sony's first-party games, like a Ghost of Tsushima, like a Last of Us. It looks like it's pitching at that level of quality, which, unfortunately, a lot of other Xbox stuff feels like it's one rung back. This is why I'm so excited for it, because I want to see Microsoft do stuff like that. But that means it's a lot of R&D cost. They're putting a lot of effort into the mocap, and a lot of money's going into this project. If this doesn't sell well, even if they could get a lot of players in Game Pass, but will it be enough in the current climate? We always mention about Square never being happy with any of their project sales. Is this just where the industry is? They're looking at it and go, we actually need to make it tenfold return on investment to secure the future of the studio for the next round of investments. Because he effectively might go 4 or 5 years without a payday for that studio. Yeah. So you need enough money to keep it going and fund the next project almost.
It's worrying, and it's a bad omen, but unfortunately I think Xbox, once again, in summary, it's their credibility that's being hit it seems like every damn quarter. Oh, we've got a showcase on the horizon, can't wait. Oh, bad news. Oh, we've got this AAA game trailer dropping today, great. More bad news. It's like, just get out of your own way. And another thing, just to round out, I guess, is one of the saddest parts about this is Tango Gameworks was Xbox's only Japanese studio, and it's gone now.
Yeah.
So Phil Spencer spoke extensively about repairing bridges with the Japanese audience and JRPGs, bringing the Persona titles over amongst other things, and really wanting to curate that side of the ponds, just catalogue and resource and everything. And Tango was such a good step in the door with that, because, like, right, we have a studio on your turf. We're creating amazing things. And Hi-Fi Rush comes out and absolutely smashes it out the park. You think, like, right, let's double down on these guys. But instead, they cut the cord. Japan will not take well to that, I don't think. And, yeah, another step on the rake for Microsoft. So I guess we'll look forward to the showcase in the summer, where it's always like, what if next, isn't it? It's like, there's always seems to be like, oh, don't worry, it'll get good soon. But we've been doing this since 2013 now.
Yeah. Again, I think, unfortunately, the world's changed. We've talked now Discord again about kids in gaming. Their approach is it, have we got to a point where our generation grew up where games were quite finite? You bought a cartridge, you put it in the thing, you played however many hours you completed the game, then you had to go buy another cartridge to play a different game because that game was done. Where kids are growing up with Minecraft and with Fortnite now, these games are effectively infinite in terms of the gaming that you can do. You can just keep playing. So is it just, as well, the nature of the games has changed, that they should be gone?
Yeah. It's just a shame, because you've got to ask, if they weren't bought by Microsoft, would everything be fine? If this was just Bethesda ZeniMax doing their own thing, would this be fine? Ninja Theory, if they just stayed independent, would they be safer? If they just had the Hellblade 1 sales, Hellblade 2 sales coming up, they'd probably still be fine. But instead, now they've got this looming threat of no marketing happening. What's going on? See how the sales do. We're part of the Game Pass model, so we don't really have an option for
it's a double-edged
altering
sword.
price or income. It's a very sharp double-edged sword, but at the moment, it seems to be landing sharper on one side. And that's cutting the head off great studios, great developers, and a lot of wonderful people who unfortunately lost their jobs. So, RIP, Arcane Austin, RIP, Tango Gameworks, and the other two that I can't really remember. But
yeah. Let's move on, Chris. So hopefully some happier news. Over in PlayStation land now, are PlayStation and Lego about to team up to work on a Horizon game?
it seems that way, which is quite surprising. But it's a weird one. We talk about games, and especially ones that we're passionate about. But yeah, there's a well-known leaker tweeted out saying basically Sony are preparing something in cooperation with Lego. It's a well-known IP, and the announcement is expected, which you wouldn't usually take that much. But then Tom Henderson, who was like one of like the biggest reporters in the games industry, he's like always reliable. He's chimed in saying like, yeah, he agrees with it, and he tweeted out saying there's something on the horizon very soon, an announcement. So he's basically saying, yeah, look, it's probably Horizon. But then, like, I've thought this for years. Like, I enjoyed Horizon so much, but at the same time, I would have took a Horizon game in the vein of, like, Celeste. You play as Aloy. It's a 2D, beautiful world. There's little robot dinosaurs to find. You jump around with your bow and arrow, zip, zip, zip. Short little 5-hour game or something. I don't know why they don't take IP and put it into different formats like that. I think that would be a great little game.
I think this is them kind of doing that a bit. And they have
that's hopefully what it is.
They've talked about Horizon MMO as well.
Mm-hmm.
I start to get worried though. Is the more games are announced in the same franchise, could franchise fatigue hit quite quickly?
Well, that's why they need to be different enough, don't they?
Yeah.
To stand on their own merits.
But, I mean, a Lego Horizon game could be very interesting, but I think Lego game, I'm not sure how that looks, to be honest. I've only really played a lot of one Lego game, so I'm not really the person there. What would you expect from a Lego Horizon game, Chris?
Open hub world. I don't think you'll start as Aloy. I think you'll just make your own little Lego brick character. You'll come out of one of the vaults, and you'll just go fight Lego dinosaurs. I don't think there's going to be much to it. The Lego games are usually very like family centric, so
yeah.
It will just be, I think, varied Lego creatures to fight, varied Lego clans to fight and bases to take. And you run around with your bow and arrow and your catcher and your traps, but in Lego form. And I think that's all it needs to be. I don't think it needs to be this amazing 80-hour Horizon experience. I think it can just be like a 20-hour little puzzle solving bits. You use the bricks to build things in certain areas, and yeah, I think again, like killing Lego dinosaurs in like a beautiful Horizon-esque inspired world, I think could be enough curiosity to pull people in.
Yeah. Do you think Sony are trying to push Horizon to a younger audience a bit with this move?
Absolutely.
So they can merchandise it better? Yeah,
again, I think it ticks a lot of boxes in terms of visuals, the genre it's playing in. Like, again, visually it's looked great. It's got that kind of the femme fatale lead that works so well, and again, just dinosaurs, man. The robot dinosaurs in it are literally the pull for Horizon for me. I think some of the monsters and creatures they make in that game are amazing. That's why I think it'll work as an MMO, like a big multiplayer thing as well. So I love Horizon, and I'm happy for them to dabble in it. Lego, again, catch me by surprise. I'm looking forward to it because the Lego games have been very similar recently. They have tried to diverge a little bit, but they ultimately are the same. However, the Lego IP, I think, immediately brings it into a different park where you're talking about like family-friendly games, and I have the best memories just playing the Star Wars ones with my brother, playing the Jurassic Park ones with my wife, and and you've just played the Avengers one with your girlfriend. I think they just are like, you don't take them seriously. They are classic video game tropes of just puzzle solving, collectathons with some quirky humor through in, and that's all they are.
They're very Nintendo, actually. They're just like, yeah, we're a video game.
Yeah,
we're not. We're not this massive cinematic experience. We're not this grind-a-thon online thing. We're a video game. You're going to play us. When you're finished, you're going to put us down. You're going to move on.
Yeah. You'll have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
They're never too expensive. We'll corrupt your save. We'll latch ourselves onto some of the best IP throughout history.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm there for it. I'm there for it. You take anything I love and put it in a Lego form, I'm pretty much going to be there for it day one.
And then you'll walk into your local toy store and you'll see a Lego Aloy.
Yeah, and it'll sell probably more merch than it will copies of the game, but that's how Lego work. They've done it for decades now by latching onto the biggest IP.
It's almost... I almost think of Lego games as a genre to itself.
They practically are, for me. For me as well. They really, really are. I know what I'm going to get. And I'm happy with that. It's like a slice of toast. It was like, it's just going to be quite basic, but you know what? It hits the spot every single time. You will go back to it.
Yeah, it does.
And it's family friendly.
It is, yeah. I think my girlfriend might actually be excited when I tell her there's rumours of a Lego Horizon game. I think she'd be totally into it.
I could see it. And I think it's stuff to go back to. I think we've said before in theory, like if they did another Lord of the Rings, like a Middle-earth Lego game that combined all movies into just one big open world one, I'd be there for that. If they did another Star Wars one, I'd probably be there for that. If they did another Jurassic Park, like again, just take anything I love, put it in Lego-fy it, and I'm there for it. But similar to what I was saying about the Aloy game there, they could do with other things as well. If you took like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, and just made them into Lego characters, they almost become cuter in a way. And that's where the family essence comes into it. So yeah, Lego, keep doing what you're doing. Collaborate with PlayStation, collaborate with Nintendo. Give me a Lego Mario game. That'd be super awesome as well.
Lego Pokemon.
Ah, mate, could you imagine?
No, you don't. You know what you do? No, you don't go Lego Mario or Pokemon. You go Lego like Smash. You know where Smash is kind of he's all the Nintendo franchises in one game. You do that with Lego.
Make them into bricks.
So
but I wouldn't be surprised.
So
We've got Mario Lego.
Do you want to be Mario? Do you want to be Link? Do you want to be Pikachu?
Make it yourself, brick by brick.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's awesome. I want that game to exist.
And again, video game is just digital Lego, isn't it? It's little tiny pixel bricks put together to make a beautiful world, and Lego's the real version of that. Lego's just Minecraft in real life, and vice versa.
Yeah. Lego Minecraft is actually a thing.
It is. We played it.
Yeah, we did. Chris, EA apparently has 2 unannounced games to launch this year. One of them is rumoured to be Dragon Age Dreadwolf.
And we don't know anything about the other one, do we?
No.
Other than it's...
The rumours are it's going to be a partner title, so an EA published rather than EA developed.
I think EA are in a quiet year this year, like as far as the cycles go. We're still not getting a Mass Effect anytime soon.
Dreadwolf has just been
obviously
in
EA
production
Sports will
for
come
so
out.
long.
It has, hasn't it? We know there's no Dead Space 2 coming. Jedi is on the back burner. There's no Battlefront game. They got rid of the shooter. Yeah, I just think this is probably going to be a quiet year for EA. Did you ever dabble in the last Dragon Age Inquisition at all?
Dragon Age Origins is one of my favourite games of all time.
Right. 2
was just rushed. They rushed out in like 9 months.
Right.
It's not a terrible game, but you can tell. Inquisition was a game that I found a bit weird. I really loved it when I first started playing, but the more I played, the less I liked. One of the major characters who is going to reappear in Dreadwolf, I just didn't like the character. Not in a way of, oh, you're meant to hate this character. He's like an evil... No, it's just like, I just don't like this person. Can this person not be on my screen, please? I just found him annoying. You know, it's like... And unfortunately, he is the Dreadwolf. So that's got me less interested, and it's been 10 years as well. Yeah.
But it did get a lot of Game of the Year awards when it came out, so there's obviously like a hype behind it, but it doesn't seem to have the same tail. Like, I feel like The Witcher had huge success, but then it's seen that success continue, if not grow in popularity, obviously thanks to other things.
Yeah, The Witcher got more popular
Dragon
with
Age,
each thing.
Netflix series and stuff,
With Dragon Age, the kind of trajectory was, people loved Origins, 2 was a miss, but because it was rushed. They took more time for Inquisition, it back to quality, and then 10 years of relative silence. It's like come on, BioWare. And BioWare, they're a studio, I think, are desperate for a hit. Like, I think they're a fallen giant of the video game industry. Where at the peak, you're talking things like Mass Effect, and you're talking like Dragon Age 1 and 3. Like,
Knights of the Old Republic was them, right?
Knights of the Old, yeah.
That was what started them proper, and then they went off and did Mass Effect.
Yeah, so like absolutely like beloved RPG creators. Then not much in recent years apart from Anthem, yeah, which has flopped. The Andromeda, which has a bit of a resurgence. People didn't like it at first, but I think as people have accepted it for what it is in later years. You had the remakes, the remasters, of Mass Effect, which did well,
Legendary
but
edition,
buggy as hell. Personal experience. Maybe patched out by now. I should go back and check one day. But yeah, so I think I don't really want to count the remasters actually as a hit because
no, it's going back to the well, isn't it? It's not really. You don't get praise for polishing up your own work. It's like you can't hand in the same essay twice and expect the same praise. It's like, come on.
So for me, it's 10 years since the last hit.
Yeah, thankfully they're not owned by Microsoft, so they've had time.
They're owned by EA.
Surprisingly had time. They've given them time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Dreadwolf is one that we should be very interested. But the thing is, we haven't actually seen that much.
No, they've been very light on. Like I think we got a tease trailer, didn't we, which just showed like a dragon and stuff, and then done, just out. But then similar for Mass Effect, we've had like very little in terms of. They've been very tight-lipped with everything BioWare. So I think if that is their big one for the year, I would be expecting them to go big this summer. And amongst all of their sports titles as per usual.
I mean, as we touched on with Ninja Theory and the lack of marketing, I think Dreadwolf is one that it needs to go soon. But I think BioWare need to get that off the plate so they can move on from that game.
Yeah,
it's one of them that I think it was definitely announced too early, and then I don't know. Unfortunately, it just hasn't panned out. But I'm interested. I'm interested, but because it's been so long, I'm no longer excited for the franchise. I want to see what it's almost like. What is a modern Dragon Age going to be now? Because it is that long.
Yeah. Well, I'm one of those gamers similar to The Witcher and stuff where I never played any of the older ones. Curious by its Game of the Year award-winning run it had. It's been that long. I do like BioWare. I love the Mass Effect trilogy. Got the platinum for that one. So I'm kind of in with the ethos. I understand it. I'm looking forward to playing Knights of the Old Republic remake whenever the hell that comes around. So I'm in their camp and I want to like them. And I think Dragon Age should be one for me. But it's you need to hit me with something that's going to really get me in the doors in today's world.
You would love the lore of Dragon Age if you got into it. It's very, especially the first game, it's very Lord of the Ringsy in a lot of places. It's that kind of classic fantasy, although they did move on a bit from the original kind of vision of the first game. But so this is where I'd be very interested to see what they do with the lore of this game.
Well, this time next month, Summer Game Fest. 4 weeks' time, Richie. We're going to be sat here reacting to everything. So hopefully we get a shed ton from EA, shed ton from Ubisoft, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, the like, and we sit here going, ho ho ho. The years ahead are exciting.
They are indeed. And the next story, Chris, I think you in particular are going to be excited by, because Frontier are making a third Jurassic World game.
Yes.
I'm just going to hand this over to you to just... I've never played any of them. You've played them all. Go.
I don't think the world needs Jurassic World Evolution 3. As much as a lot of people probably say we didn't need another trilogy in the Jurassic Park series, but we got them. I enjoyed them personally. I thought all three of the world movies were decent at best. The games, however, it's very much the same thing. This, for those who don't know, Jurassic World Evolution is Frontier, who are the guys who do Planet Coaster. So you're thinking theme park simulation, management simulation. Naturally, Jurassic World theme park is that, but with dinosaurs. And the first one was great. The second one I really enjoyed. They expanded it a little bit more. They added aquarium elements in, so you could have fishy dinosaurs and some more fly dinosaurs that they added in the giant bird pens, as made popular in Jurassic Park 3. Aviaries, that's the word I was looking for. And they had characters return. They had Jeff Goldblum do voiceover, and it's got the elements. It's licensed correctly. They had a shit ton of dinosaurs in the form of DLC packs. But then when we get to a third entry in as little as probably 10 years, I think, we're almost getting how different is this going to be? Realistically, it's going to be the same game. Obviously, it'll look prettier, but then are you going to try and piecemeal sell me all the same dinosaurs that I already had in the previous games? Or I don't know. I think it needs to do like it's obviously doing good for Frontier. They clearly make money off it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have made 3. Although my memory serves me right, 2 didn't sell that well.
Yeah,
but evidently enough to still make money. I know they're working on another Planet Coaster game, like a sequel to that, because they haven't made 3 of them. They've just made 1. So the Roller Coaster Park Simulator one gets 1, but evidently Jurassic Park is that big of a franchise. It merits 3 games. So you know what? I'm happy for it. I think if it hits me at the right time, I'll probably pick it up because I have thoroughly enjoyed 1 and 2. I got the platinum in 1 actually. 2 not so much, bit of a grind, feeding those herbivores and whatnot.
Is there any more Jurassic World films on the horizon?
Yeah, so the kind of story with Chris Pratt and the team is done, but the director of the last one actively said like this won't be the end of the franchise, so that's the end of their story. But I think the world's always clambering for like there are no other dinosaur movies. Like I don't know how you get like Godzilla.
But I'm one who personally looks at the Jurassic Park / World film and go, the one outstanding film, maybe 2 or 3 pretty good films, and maybe 3 or 4 crap.
Alan.
It's like there's more misses than hits in the franchise now.
Yeah. I want them to take the franchise similar to the Horizon we've just said, like Diverge. Give me a proper Jurassic Park inspired like horror movie. Like make it scary because these are monsters. These are literal giant reptile monsters. Yeah, there was more horror in it. And actually the second Fallen Kingdom, was it? Had some big scary elements with like little girl in the bedroom with the shadow across the window, the rain outside, like hide in your bed kind of horror stuff. Like really go in on the horror, I think. It's like
you want to move away from like the Chris Pratt borderline superhero character.
Yeah.
Like,
get away from that. But the story's to be told. It gets a bit superhero inspired.
That's the beauty of the first one. It was very grounded.
Yeah. And it holds up to this day so well. And dinosaurs are only on the screen in the first movie for like 10 minutes in the whole movie. And that's why it builds suspense. It's like why Jaws works really well, because you don't see the damn shark until like very few brief moments. But another game. We'll no doubt get another movie. I'm here for it. Planet Coaster sequel, I'm also there for it. I love Jurassic. I love Roller Coaster Tycoon. But I was actually talking to Rob about this today in person, saying like he's trying Age of Empires 4 and he just couldn't quite get into it, so he went back to Age of Empires 2. And I'm the same. I'm like I love Planet Coaster, but I always go back to Roller Coaster Tycoon. There's something about that isometric grid style that works for simulation games. And yeah,
I've done that as well with Age of Empires 4. I try to play as like. I don't want Age of Empires 4. What I want is Age of Empires 2. I want the familiarity because I'm not a huge strategy player. So when I dip my toes, I want that familiarity. I don't want to learn a new game or loads of mechanics. I just want to go back to what I know and just because I know I'm going to have a good time.
Yeah.
It's same with Civ. I think I'm playing like Civ 5 or something. It's probably like Civ 9 or something out nowadays. I will go back and play the same one I've been playing for a decade. Even though I know there's newer games, which are probably objectively better.
Yeah. I mean, I bought the entire Command and Conquer series.
And you just played Red Alert 2.
I played Red Alert 2 and Yuri's Revenge because they're the best ones. Generals can go fuck itself.
Yeah. You know what can go fuck itself, Chris? The ROG Ally X has been announced. So this is the follow-up to the ROG Ally, but it's not the ROG Ally 2. That's coming later.
Yeah. Handhelds, right? Super popular at the moment.
They are.
It's one that we've covered quite extensively because of our relationship with cloud gaming, isn't it? But yeah, the ASUS getting in the game amongst other things. But yeah, it's good to know that it's well enough. It's a true challenger to the Steam Deck in every sense of the word, although it's not as well received.
So the first ROG Ally went head to head. It was the first one out the gate after the Steam Deck. I believe. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. And it fell short a bit. I think it was cheap.
Powerful,
I think it was slightly cheaper price point, but it was. You'd look at it and go, "It's worth the money for the Steam Deck." That was the kind of consensus.
Yeah.
The X is meant to be kind of the original, but perfected.
It's like a pro model.
Yeah, it's a pro model. You're getting the same screen, so they're not giving you like how the Steam are now giving you an OLED screen. It's the same screen. It's the same chipset, but they've worked at it. It's got much better battery life, which I think was one of the major criticisms. And reading from The Verge, we're not looking at 30 to 40% more capacity. We're looking at way more than that. So it should be a significant bump up, which it's a portable device. You need a good battery life.
Absolutely. And but obviously it runs on Windows, so much like a lot of the other gaming handhelds. All your cloud gaming elements, download, install what you want. And I'm glad it's one of those things. I think in another world I'd probably own one of these devices, but I think with the mini collapse of cloud gaming with Stadia going and then Luna struggling, chugging along, and Xbox kind of doing little bits and pieces, I think in another world I would have had these, but I'm quite content with just my Razer Kishi and my Portal quite now.
The Portal is becoming more useful to me.
Yeah, did you say to me this week it's gone down to $199? I was like, that's how much it's always been. So it's just back in stock. That's the crazy thing.
I did say that, yeah, but I thought in my mind it was $350 or something. But I've seen it listed for one. I'm sure I've seen them like listed for more
scalpers,
than one. Yeah.
Do we have a price on this ROG Ally? The ROG Ally. ROG is Republic of Gamers, right? That's like ASUS's like branding within.
It's a gamer branding.
Yeah, because like ASUS, like no disrespect, they've never really been on my radar for like PC or the monitors or anything like that. They're decent.
I think I've got an ASUS monitor in front of me.
ASUS.
Yes, I do. It's that one. It's the one you're on. Yeah.
But they're doing better.
They're a reasonable reputation in the PC space. I'm not that familiar with how PC gamers or PC users would rank brands like that, but they're definitely, I imagine, in most people's consideration, whether you're a gamer or not. They do decent stuff. ROG is definitely their gamer stuff. I don't have a price right now for the X. At least The Verge hasn't reported one.
Yeah. The original Ally is currently £600.
That's where my interest in these falls off a cliff, to be honest. I'm not saying they're not worth £600. It's just there's no way I could justify that. It's just that's just the reality.
Well, this is again for me personally. This is why I like a Portal. Feels like I can get a PlayStation for £380, then I can get a Portal for $200. I'm still not that far off the same price, and I've got two devices. Again,
not really.
Obviously, PC get. I mean, yeah, there's like different elements to them, but
once PlayStation release full cloud gaming on the Portal, then I think you can classify it as two devices. Right now, effectively, the Portal is a screen and controller. Yeah, because it completely locks down your PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, you get like the equivalent power.
That's as I said, I'm getting more and more interested in a Portal going forward. Now I'm spending more time with my girlfriend.
Steam Deck OLEDs
away from home. It's something I could chuck in the bag. Like
yes, Steam Deck OLED's $680.
Yeah,
so expensive shit, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Oddly enough, this morning I actually dusted off my Razer Kishi because I was sat on my girlfriend's couch with a cup of tea and we're both in Dreamlight Valley.
On your Razer Kishis or one on the screen?
She was on the telly. I was on my Kishi.
Wow! Shout to Razer.
Yeah. So Kishi.
What I like to see is in a world where we don't have a Vita 2 and Xbox don't make a handheld, and we're just going to be waiting eternally for the Switch 2. It's nice to see other players getting in the market.
Yeah.
We talk about all the depression of closures and stuff, and yet these companies are putting out. We've seen more handhelds in the last 4 or 5 years than history before.
Oh yeah.
So I'm here for that. I love a good handheld device. So. Crack on.
Yeah, I mean, if I was a hardcore PC gamer and wanted a solution to play my games on the go, these are the kind of things that I'd definitely be looking into. And you've got to weigh up the pros and cons. The issue with the ROG Ally seems like, as you said, the price seems to be right up, pushing up against the Steam Deck.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Steam Deck is objectively better, it's hard to justify why go for this.
Just get a Steam Deck.
Yeah, considering the Steam Deck, while it is built on Linux, you can boot Windows into it. That is well established. But
you know what you can't boot Windows into?
Tencent. You can't boot Windows into Tencent because Remedy. apparently backing away from Tencent because with their multiplayer title, which it used to be, it's codenamed Kestrel, it used to be codenamed Condor, is that right?
No, that's another one of their games. So all of their code names have like bird names attached to them. So Condor is their own multiplayer game based in the Control universe. Kestrel was something they were doing in partnership with Tencent, so it was like a separate thing.
Yeah. But the story is basically that that Kestrel's cancelled. They've cancelled the Kestrel.
They've killed the bird.
But what they have actually already said as well is everyone who's working on Kestrel has been found jobs on other projects.
Yeah, the project's I think this is resource management internally, where Remedy are thinking, do we want to keep doing this? Like, you don't know what the behind-the-scenes deal are, but yeah, to read from that quote, the Remedy CEO, Tero Vitala, said, Codename Kestrel showed early promise, but the project was still in early concept stage. Our other projects have advanced well and now moving to the next stage of development, which requires an increased focus and to provide them with the correct benefits. We can relocate talented Kestrel developers to these other projects and many of our support functions to get additional focus on their operation. Thanks for those who work for Kestrel. Remind them that it's cancelled, but it's for the wider Remedy benefits. And it's provided the studio with valuable learnings as they head into making Max Payne remakes 1 and 2. The no doubt follow up to probably Alan Wake and then Control as well, which I think is, and then the multiplayer game Condor, which is their Control-verse multiplayer shooter, which I think could be really good. So I think it's a smart business move. I think Tencent obviously had some investment there, but it doesn't seem like it was working out for both parties if Tencent are happy for them to can it. So I think it's probably similar to the Xbox news, but without the downside of you closing a studio down, you just reallocating. Like if Xbox turned around and said, we're not going to do all that other stuff, but we're going to reallocate the staff to work to help out with support on Starfield multiplayer, or we're going to reallocate them to get that Perfect Dark game off the ground, goddamn finally. It would have been like, right, that sucks, but I guess we'll see Hi-Fi Rush and Dishonored from another team spread out. But they didn't do that. They shut the whole thing. Yep. Resource management at its finest. But
it is.
Remedy seems like a well-run studio, to be fair.
It
all
does.
Things said and done. So,
and the cancellation of Kestrel means that the additional resources that basically Tencent were provided are no longer needed. It doesn't seem to be any bad blood from what we can tell here. It just seems to be like, actually, we want to focus on our own IP, Max Payne, Control, Alan Wake. I could see Max Payne getting folded into the Control Alan Wake universe. They seem to be keen on that connected universe, and maybe that's part of the idea behind the remakes, to tie the three franchises together. And then going, well, why we're doing our own thing, it's doing well. Why are we doing this other multiplayer game which isn't connected?
Mm-hmm. Just keep it in-house.
It's just going to take up resources.
And that's the benefit of Remedy being independent, is they can do that.
Yeah, and with a multiplayer game, it's not just resources to get out the door, it's then maintaining it and its server capacity, and it's like, do we need it? No, let's not do it.
I think with them having Condor as well, they want to negate that risk of spreading themselves too thin on games as a service. And I think obviously Condor seemingly is the better of the two. So evidently the Condor killed the Kestrel. Well,
in this case, it might not even be which is better. It's Kestrel's an early concept stage. There's not a game there. It's not really a game to cancel yet. They're thinking about making a game.
So the Kestrel's in an egg.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
Yeah, the Condor ate the egg.
Kes.
So, next news story, Chris, is an interesting one, because we did just say a Mighty Doom developer. Was it Bad Dog?
Bad Dog, something.
Yeah, was shut. But Microsoft about to open a mobile store.
Yes.
That seems weird to me. A mobile developer getting closed when they're about to launch a mobile store.
I think that was more, again, on the game front decision. A storefront doesn't require a development studio to function. I think this is part of the Activision Blizzard King stuff. The biggest thing. So, to clarify, so we know storefronts exist. So Microsoft later in July are expecting to launch a Xbox-branded storefront on mobile devices. Sarah Bond dropped the news, and it was, again, dropping a lot of news at the moment. During the Bloomberg Technology Summit, she confirmed that a fully fledged first-party portfolio of Xbox games will be coming to the store, and it'll be hitting web before it's rolled out across other devices and countries, no matter what. So this is that Microsoft ecosystem they've been talking about for some time. So basically, expect to see the likes of Candy Crush downloadable, purchasable through this Xbox storefront, alongside the likes of Minecraft and Fallout and a bunch of other stuff. Like Fallout Shelter will be in there, no doubt, alongside the main Fallout entries, in some kind of like unification that just means that if you're on your iPhone, if you're on your Android phone or whatever, you're going to be able to play this. And I guess this is like the long play for like cloud gaming and ecosystem, and you can download it from your phone and it'll be on your console when you get home, and it's all shared practice. And we knew they wanted to get into this thanks to the Activision Blizzard kind of trials that went on. They had to actively present their plan for owning AKB, and because they had King, that was a huge part of it, right? Because the King deal is so profitable, the mobile market.
Who's this for, though, the storefront? I can, apart from Microsoft, obviously, apart from Microsoft wanting it.
I think it's the push for all companies to have screen space on mobile devices. So you've got like your likes of Netflix and Facebook and Twitter who hold like basically everyone's main home screen on their phones. Obviously, Android don't think so much about that, but remember on iPhone, your home screen is very much locked in. There's like a grid of apps that is like like millions and millions of people see every time they open their phone.
And it's a love-hate situation with that.
Oh, absolutely. And if you don't have that real estate there, it's easy to forget you exist on the phone. I have apps that are buried deep in my menu on my phone that I would not know are there.
Yeah,
so
I occasionally go purge stuff.
So rather than buy stuff through the iOS store or the Play Store, I think this is their push to get their games, their titles front and center on people's phones. So if you want to play Candy Crush, if you want to play Fallout or whatever game you want to play, you go to the Xbox app. I think it's a slow burn. I think it's a bit little too late. I think maybe 2 decades ago would have been great. But
what you mean when they had a Windows phone?
Yeah. I mean, there was a Windows storefront on the home screen, but in terms of
I just don't know who's downloading alternative storefronts onto the phone.
Exactly.
Like,
I think it's a little too late.
Specifically for Microsoft stuff. It does seem... I mean, there must be an audience there. I know some people do, but it's like... I don't know that.
Well, the conclusion of this article from Insider Gamer says, while the Xbox Mobile Store will debut with a first-party lineup, it will expand down the line to include partnered products. It's a lofty goal, with Bond explaining that Microsoft is trying to transcend simply creating a gaming-based application and instead wants to ensure that your library, your identity, and your rewards travel with you. So it's essentially that Xbox ecosystem in one place.
Yeah, but as someone who's new to the Xbox ecosystem, I hate the fact it's a Microsoft store, not a dedicated Xbox store on my console. I want them to go the other way, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Like, have a nice, clean storefront that is separate from the rest of Microsoft.
This is where they get stuck between being Microsoft, being Windows, being Xbox, and the unification
is a brand strong enough on its own. So on the PC space, you can have the Microsoft store that's dealing with all the classic Microsoft products, Word, Excel, that sort of stuff, and you can have the Xbox store that's a gaming division of Microsoft, and just have these separate things. On the PC, you can have it pre-installed, and then I already have an Xbox app on my phone for games. I don't.
I have two. I have an Xbox and I have a Game Pass app, which
is
annoying in its own right.
Into one app.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I mean about having this clean thing. Is like, maybe this is the solution. Maybe this replaces both of them. But that's not what they've said.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just weird. I'm not seeing what the goal is here, apart from this lofty ambition of every phone having a Microsoft store on. And in the PC space, how many people, let us know in the comments, do you use the Microsoft store on your PC? Because I have not ever bought a single thing from the Microsoft store on my PC.
Same.
Unless it's been via my Xbox app on the PC.
Yeah. Maybe we're just not the audience.
Yeah, I don't know. Suicide Squad, Chris. Yeah. Could it kill WB? It's just cost them $200 million.
It won't kill them because Hogwarts Legacy did so well. So what do you mean it cost them 200 million?
Yeah, but they're doubling down on games like Suicide Squad and
That's
Hogwarts
true,
Legacy.
yeah.
So Warner Brothers say the failure of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League contributed to a 200 million hit to revenue.
Ooh.
That's a big loss.
Yeah, this was part of the earnings report, right? They praised Hogwarts Legacy, lamented Suicide Squad, and I quote, generated significantly lower revenues compared to Hogwarts Legacy over a same 3-month period. Shit.
The thing is, anytime a WB story comes up, everyone's always going to compare any of the games as a service to Hogwarts Legacy, because Hogwarts Legacy is still charting in sales figures right now, over a year after it came out. And all the games as a service in recent years have flopped. Every single one of them. Yet the WB are doubling down on the games as a service, not the stuff that's actually making them money.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we don't need to cover this for too long, but if you asked me several years ago when they started talking about Suicide Squad, I could have saved them 200 million and just said no.
Yeah, don't do it.
Same with Hogwarts Legacy.
Don't
microtransaction it.
Isn't what you think it is. It's not that strong.
Hogwarts Legacy, don't do with a sequel. Just give us the same thing. Give us a new story to go with it, and give us some expanded areas. Like, let us go to the Ministry of Magic. Let us do all those like locations in the movies with Hogwarts as well. Somehow get cameos in there. I don't know. It just needs to be the same thing again, and you will make money.
And you know what? I can point to examples of why you should do that. EA, perfect case study. Everyone hated EA. They brought out Jedi Fallen Order, and went, that is a good game. It's not full of bullshit. It's just, here's a single player Star Wars experience that we've been crying out for a long time. Like Hogwarts Legacy was for Harry Potter. It's high quality. They brought out Jedi Survivor, and it sold well again.
Yeah.
Look at the case study. It's right there.
And again, it's the same. It's there with Batman, isn't it? It's like the Arkham games did amazingly well, and it's like people who love these franchises love them because it's usually spun off of a movie or a comic or something with literature connections, like dialogue, like story chapters. Letting me be generic character 101 in an open world, doing whatever, just hit points and stuff, and then I'm paying for skins and stuff and Fortnite dances. That's not why I love Batman. That's not why I love Marvel. That's not why I love Star Wars or Lord of the Rings. It's to be in those worlds and see alongside those locations. If they want to make bank, Lord of the Rings game, make it look like Peter Jackson's Middle-earth. Let me explore. Let me journey from Minas Tirith to Osgiliath to wherever and just experience it. It doesn't need to have any characters. It just needs the locations and the setting. Like Hogwarts Legacy. I loved Hogwarts Legacy for the exploration of the castle and the grounds more than anything else in that game.
It felt like you in that world.
Yeah. Do the exact same with The Lord of the Rings, or go back to Arkham, and people will show up for it because they're fans of the franchise.
Yeah.
But Warner Brothers do what Warner Brothers do, and we'll probably get some kind of Green Lantern game next.
Green Lantern.
It's actually Warner Brothers next. Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Which from Monolith, which it's single player, so it should be good.
Yeah.
I'm there for Wonder Woman day one as it stands.
Well, I was genuinely surprised. I was quite negative on Hogwarts Legacy because I just didn't trust WB with the IP, and they proved me wrong. And then everything that's since this games came out makes me feel that I was right to be skeptical.
Yep.
And
then it just goes to show with Hogwarts Legacy, it was like, don't go against the woke brigade, because remember people trying to get that game cancelled, and it kind of had the opposite effect, where people just backed it and were like, yeah, I'm behind this. So you just, again, with games, you just never really know, do you?
We don't, but good news, everybody. We have good news in this podcast if you're over an hour in. Nintendo will continue to support physical media.
Good old Nintendo. That's a family-run company that does great things.
Yeah, well, basically, the quote is saying the policy will remain unchanged going forward, supporting physical and digital media. So anyone big on game preservation likes physical media for obvious reasons. Nintendo is supporting it going for the foreseeable future.
Especially cartridges.
They love the cartridges.
Just don't lick them.
Yeah, I was going to make the same comment. Do not lick your cartridges.
Unless that's your kink.
Weird kink, but if that's what you're into, then
that's why they're kinks.
No
right?
judgment here. If your kink is licking Nintendo cartridges, I mean, it's an expensive kink if you damage them, but
that is indeed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think physical media is a big thing. I think Nintendo are always fine. I actually read there was a Eurogamer article this week, and it was lamenting all the Xbox news we spoke about. But what it went back to is it said at its core, Nintendo are a toy company.
Yeah,
their mission and their objective is what they usually say is like to make people smile. It's to have fun for kids. Or again, it started off like what was a card trading company or something back in the day, way back when. Sony slightly different. They started Sony's first product was a rice cooker.
Yeah,
which before they even got into like like very like old school tech. And then obviously they branched out to it, but it's like media and entertainment, right? Their music, their movies, their TV. And then their games, like they all have that, like it's entertainment quality. They're with the sole purpose to create entertainment for people to watch. And then in the Eurogamer article, it's a really good read actually if you go into it, is Microsoft. It's always been just about tech software. It's about crunching numbers, punching and crunching.
Very cool.
And then seemingly like, oh, we want to get into the games industry. And they had a good solid run of it. 360 took off. But then for the last 10 plus years, it's been about crunching numbers and who can we bundle a Kinect in with this? How much will we charge? It's the most powerful piece of hardware, but what's missing? It's the games and the fun.
The Kinect is like a consequence of the Wii. Nintendo come out and make a toy in the Wii. So, Microsoft went, we will do the same, but then force it onto people who were not that audience. People weren't buying Xboxes in the 360 generation because they like waving wands around. They were, because that was when that's when Halo was at its peak. It's when Gears was at its peak. These Call of Duty was kind of felt like an Xboxy title. Mm-hmm. Ironically, actually is now, but it was then kind of bro gamer stuff. That was where Xbox's identity was. And then it's like, well, I have to have this bloody thing with the Kinect. Yeah. Which I stand the Kinect as an option was never bad. Alien Isolation with the Kinect was fantastic.
Yeah. But then that's what it goes back to, isn't it? It's like Nintendo, fun.
We make fun games. That's what
Sony,
we do.
entertainment. Microsoft, Google, they weren't about fun. They're about the numbers, and it failed. Amazon, logistics company, how's Luna doing? I don't know. Microsoft, it's again, Apple are the only other one who's still not dipped the toe in the water fully. And I mean, looking at the industry now, they probably never will. But
I've said with Apple, I think the issue with Apple in the gaming industry is they're very controlling of their ecosystem as a company. And I think we're trying to make too many demands of developers. It's the same problem Stadia hit, only with Apple, with iOS rather than Linux, because I can't see Apple using like a version of Windows to get their product on. They will use a version of iOS, and gaming on iOS is generally accepted to not be as good as gaming on Windows. So rather than bring out their own platform, I think they need to address that first.
Yeah.
Once they do, off to the races.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, they have the brand and they have the cash,
yeah.
So there's a chance. But I think Apple Arcade, mobile, cloud, whatever this VR. I remember they've got a $3,500 VR headset at the moment, so they're willing to put their eggs in some weird baskets right now. But
yeah, that seems
either way.
That seems. I just don't understand who that. God of War Ragnarok's coming to PC apparently next. This is our last news story for you. Good. I'm looking forward. I mean, I won't play it on PC because I've got the platinum already, but that seems about the right cadence, right? Yeah, it seems like it's right reliable leaker, Bill Coon, who's great if you follow him on Twitter. Yeah. What have we got? We've just got, Spider-Man 2 came out after Ragnarok, right? So that's done. We've got Ghost of Tsushima. That's out this month, I think. Is it out? No, it's not out yet, is it? It's imminent. No, it's imminent, yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima PC imminent. Oh, yeah, because it comes with the trophy support and stuff, doesn't it?
One thing we haven't covered is Helldivers. They've walked back on their requirement for PSN.
Oh, they have. You're right, yeah.
Yeah.
Good choice for all parties involved.
Yeah. Although I do stand by what I said last week, where I think it was a bit overblown, but it's good to see that. I mean, I think there was some controversial stuff around it. People potentially getting fired. I don't know the full story.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, it was the community manager who took to their Reddit or Discord and basically said
to review bomb his own game. So
no, he didn't say review bomb. He said if you've got a problem, go to PlayStation and like give them shit over it. Which I think, I'd imagine in their contract legals between second party developer and publisher PlayStation, you're not supposed to throw them under the bus.
No,
because they essentially funded the launch of your game. So
you're meant to manage the community, not justify their anger and point it somewhere else. Like
that guy was unfortunately removed from his position, which is, I guess, from a business standpoint, it's the right thing to do. But he did say his job was to look after the community, and that's what he did to the bitter end. And you know what? I respect that.
Yeah.
There's people asking for us to have a tribute of him put in the game as like Captain something or other or Commander something, because that was his tagline in the Discord. But you know what? Another day we move on. Helldivers is back. Ironically enough, all the fervour going around it, its daily player count never really dropped beyond 99,000.
This is what we were talking about last week, where it's going to be a handful of angry people on Reddit, but the player count's going to dip maybe by a couple of hundred, maybe even a couple of thousand. But then people either rage quit and that's it, or half of them, probably even 2/3 of the people who are angry were going to go back and play anyway. Yeah.
I mean, players right now on Saturday afternoon, 116,000 playing it right now, so yeah, you can't stop them. So in terms of PC games, though, Helldivers, it's already there. What other first-party games have we had? Again, PlayStation haven't really put anything out recently, so I think they're starting to catch up on themselves, right?
There's rumours of a showcase.
Horizon Forbidden West?
Yeah. That's called PlayStation.
Not PC.
PC,
God of War coming to PC, so Forbidden West came out before Ragnarok, didn't it? So
yeah,
my guess would be if we haven't had Forbidden West, that's soon. Ghost of Tsushima, then Ragnarok. Last of Us Part 2? That hasn't came to PC yet, has it?
I wonder if they are like intentionally staggering these releases rather than just doing like a huge software dump. To slowly build that library, while maybe they work on the PlayStation PC back end.
As of March this year, Last of Us Part 2 PC port was just a rumour. So yeah, it looks like they're starting to catch up with... So yeah, remember Ghost of Tsushima came out just before Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
So if we're just getting Ghost of Tsushima, it must go Last of Us Part 2, then Forbidden West, then Ragnarok. So if we're getting that cadence of like they're coming out the same chronological order... this probably rings true that we'll hear about Ragnarok soon.
It does, but...
So, yeah. I mean, we won't play them on PC because I've already played the shit out of them on PlayStation and got the platinum in them all.
My PC isn't good. My PC isn't as good as my PlayStation, so...
yeah, same.
There's no benefit to me playing on PC unless I add them about mouse and keyboard. But I tried with Starfield and it ran like shit.
I did as well, and it ran like shit.
Yeah, just not good enough hardware. This week in video game history, Chris. So starting on May the 11th...
The Sega Saturn. Yeah, 29 years ago, Sega started to taper off from the success. In 1995, we got the amazing Sega Saturn. Never owned one. My uncle owned one, and it was always a cool thing going around his house and being like, you just don't like to buy what everyone else had a PlayStation or otherwise. No, he always went with the quirky different one against the grain. Went to his, played Sega Saturn. Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Yeah.
It was one of my favourite ones. And it was called Overloaded or Loaded or Reloaded. Reloaded, where it was like a top-down. A bit like a Hotline Miami. But you had like coloured keys to get into certain areas of the map. And you basically went around and just bullet-ridden everything. 2-player. Me and my brother used to mince people. With Gatling guns and flamethrowers and everything. To find the key to get to the next door to fight the boss. And... that was it, but yeah. And was it Ridge Racer? Ridge Racer, I think, was on it. So those 3 games he had. And I just thought it was always quirky as a kid going around and be like, your controller's really funny, or these discs look really weird, or this boot up screen. But you know what? Shout out to Casper the Friendly Ghost on the Sega Saturn.
I think it's ironic. Your controller's really weird. It's basically the same as the Sega Mega Drive controller, which you were very familiar with.
Yeah, true. But how old was I? So 95, so I'll have only been 5. 6-year-old, but it was different. And yeah, I like the Sega Saturn for what it did, for what it was anyway.
There's a few gems actually on May the 12th.
May the 12th. I mean, Panzer Dragoon came out on the Saturn as well, so that's a good shout. We just had the remake or the remaster, right? It came to Google Stadia.
It did. And Google Stadia was gone.
It's gone now, yeah. It came and went. Nothing else
May the
really
12th.
on that one.
Gran Turismo, the original.
Oh, that's a shout, yeah. 1998, 26 years ago. Gran Turismo, the first one. Now, I only got into Gran Turismo on the sequel, Gran Turismo 2, when I had 2 discs. You had the simulation disc and you had the arcade disc. So if you wanted to play like arcade racing with my brother, it was the disc 2 we had to use. Yeah. Gran Turismo. PlayStation's biggest selling franchise of all time in terms of units.
Nice. Doom made its triumphant return to
the
PC.
the reboot.
Yeah. In 2016.
Ooh. Do you think we'll get Doom this year?
Maybe.
What was that leaked one? Doom...
There's...
something? It was leaked with all the Xbox stuff, wasn't it? It was new console and Doom, insert word here. Doom Eternal, Doom something. It's on one of our thumbnails, I know that, but yeah. A new Doom game, I think it could be imminent. It's been a while since we got... the last one was, 2019, 2020? So you're talking 4 plus years.
Have you looked at May the 13th yet?
May the 13th.
Because, May the 12th, we also got Tears of the Kingdom a year ago. But that's less interesting because they're so recent.
Know what am I looking at?
Breakout in the arcades 48 years ago on May the 13th.
Damn. Breakout. Was that Atari? Yeah, it was Atari. Yeah. 48 years. If video games that old?
Yeah.
That's mad. Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars. Ever played it?
Nope.
Is that the one getting a remake, Super Mario RPG, on Switch this year? We've had Paper Mario. I feel like Mario RPG. I might be coming to the Switch Online. That's what I might be thinking. There's so many damn Mario games.
Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Ages and Seasons. Great games for the Game Boy.
And a bunch of other crap.
Yeah.
100 Days Winemaking Simulator. Shout out to that.
Yeah, go check out the stream if you want to see me and Tom drink like multiple bottles of wine while we make a vineyard.
One day we'll play another alcohol-related game and get drunk on stream together.
Indeed, but it is not this day, because this day is the end of the podcast. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell icon so you're kept in the loop of all of our fantastic content here at GamerGuildTV. There's links to all of our socials in the descriptions, storefronts, everything. Just go in the description, that's what it's for. My name's been Richie.
I've been Chris.
GG everyone. Goodbye.
GG.